Hi, welcome back to my channel, The Intuitive Projector. My name is Melissa, world famous healer, and your friend when it comes to all things nervous system, holistic health, and entrepreneurship. Ultimately here to support you with the things that I've learned and the strategies and the tools that I've created for my own self over what it feels like a lifetime of the journey of self-discovery, which is ultimately healing. You know, we're here to experience this world in a way that feels grounded and clear, and I want to share with you how I have gotten there. So let me ask you a question. Is nervous system dysregulation blocking you from your money goals, from your business goals, from your health and your wellness goals, from your relationship goals? And the short answer could be probably. You know, when we are in the womb, our little self of our embryo self, our fetus self, is already trying to figure out if this environment, if this world outside of our mama is safe. You know, we are absorbing and in her chemical soup of stress hormones, cortisol, of love hormones like oxytocin. We can hear things already in the womb. So we're actually coming out with an understanding, a general understanding of the environment. And so our nervous system is already being influenced for dysregulation or regulation. And then as we grow in the first 7 years, we're in a theta state, so our beliefs are being solidified by our environment, by the general mindset of those around us and what they're teaching us, what they're modeling for us. And ultimately, our nervous system is trying to help us just make sense of the world, trying to make sense of the external environment and helping us make sense of our internal environment. This nervous system is the interface between those two things. So, what does it mean to be dysregulated? What does it mean to be regulated? And how does that actually impact our experience in this body and trying to create a reality that works for us? Because I don't know about you, I would love for my life to be effective. I, in my life, would love more freedom, more flow, more fun when it comes to creating and seeing what we want to create. So I want to talk about dysregulation because it's a conversation that is floating around the internet. Are we regulated? Are we dysregulated? And it's like, what does that mean? How does that show up in the body? And how is it actually influencing you as a person, you and your business, you for your health, you and your relationships? Because the only thing that we can honestly control is how we show up. But if we have underlying dysregulation running part of the show, even though maybe our minds say, hey, I'm in an environment and I am safe, but if the body is having a completely different experience, then how do we get these things to link up? And education, a base of general knowledge is going to help you with that. So let me help you understand what nervous system dysregulation is doing in your body. So first and foremost, I love Mel Robbins talking about a woman who has gone through it and who is showing up as her grandest version of herself and being of great service to teach others about what that means. So if your nervous system is on edge, it's nearly impossible for your prefrontal cortex, the front part of your brain, to engage. It's impossible to learn something new. It's impossible to think clearly. You must first calm your nervous system and get back in your body before you truly harness your power and make decisions that are aligned in your values with what you want. You will be constantly trapped in the loop that is triggered by your past. Mel Robbins. So in my first video, I'll link that in the comments or in the description below. I talk about values and that being such a foundational base for creating holistic entrepreneurship, and creating a holistic life, right? All the bits and pieces, right? There's not just like one thing. It's all of you. It's all of you. All of you matter. And so that value piece is so important. So if you've not done any value work, check that video out. But getting back to dysregulation, if you are in a constant state of stress, chronic stress that's initiated, probably not by predators, probably not by lions or snakes or bears, oh my, but from social media, from a 24-hour news cycle, a job you hate, a commute that you don't appreciate, a boss that doesn't value you, right? If you're in a chronic state of stress, you're going to be in a chronic state of dysregulation. And if you're in a chronic state of dysregulation, you cannot learn new things. You can't be stunted in your growth because your body is trying just to hold on for dear life and then say, oh, I'm going to grow, evolve, and change. They don't work together. It doesn't work. So you have to move out of dysregulation to be able to grow, evolve, and change, to create the manifestation, to rewire beliefs, to have the energy to take action in the ways that are congruent with what it is you want to see in your life, the health you want to create, the wealth you want to create, the self-expression that you know that is there for you, the love in relationships and social connections. It all matters, and it all starts in the nervous system. So if we are dysregulated and we're in a chronic state of dysregulation, it's going to stimulate the sympathetics. So in the autonomic nervous system, that's involuntary, right? It manages our breath, our heartbeat, our digestion, and all of that is influenced by the balance that we have between the sympathetics and the parasympathetics. Sympathetics is rest. Sympathetics is fight, flight, or freeze, or fawn. Those are those responses. And then parasympathetic is rest, digest, and heal. So important to understand. But when we're talking about the sympathetics, how are sympathetics turned on? Sympathetics are turned on because of life events. Our biography reflects our biology. If we have experiences in life that dip us below the safety line and bring us into fear, doubt, regret, worry, despair, like these types of energetic imprints, it gets us into fight or flight. These life events are going to initiate a sympathetic response, and appropriately so. The thing is when it stops being appropriate is when it turns into a chronic condition, and then it influences the body's ability to either work well or not work well. So life events, fight or flight. These can be severe or singular events, slight, habitual, some combination of them, right? It could be you came home every day to an abusive parent and you were abused every day. It was severe, it was habitual. You might have gotten to a car accident. It was severe and it was singular. You just might have, I don't know, somebody at work who just says something about your outfit every day that makes you just feel like, oh, on guard, right? It might be slight and habitual. Like, right, there's many combinations to why the sympathetics could be turned on. It could come from a physical, emotional, chemical, mental or psychological, or spiritual outlets that externally come at you, right? It's a concussion of forces, and in that concussion of forces is either you can deal with it and you can let that information flow. It's like, oh, so-and-so said whatever, and it's like, big deal. Like, we're not taking it on. Or so-and-so said whatever, and I am internalizing it somatically, right? We're somatically taking it and putting it in the body, and then we're creating a physical response in the body to that information. So sympathetics, what does it mean if they're turned on? If we are in chronic sympathetics, we call this sympathetic wind-up, because what usually happens is that the sympathetics get wound up and we're not utilizing the skills to unwind them with parasympathetic actions. and teaching of the body to drop that stress and tension and move that energy through. And then we get kind of like on a merry-go-round. And then we're just like on the same track over and over. And it's like, how do I get off of this merry-go-round? So when we see ourselves in chronic sympathetics, chronic stress, sympathetic windup, we're going to watch the immune system decrease in function. We become more vulnerable to infection. Have you ever had, like, I know I'll get that if over time, like, I have high levels of stress and tension, things are kind of piling on top of each other and it's a little overwhelming and it's hard to get ahead of like getting out of it. And it's like, then my body breaks a bit. Then I get sick or I get hurt. And then I have to really take a ton of rest to rebalance that concussion of forces, that information, right? We want to ideally not get to that point. And having good body skills and nervous system, like parasympathetic training, will help us move either through it quickly or not let us move into it at all. So decreased immune function. I don't know if you know anybody who's always sick to some degree, and it could be stemming from a nervous system dysregulation. Another issue that shows up is decreased cortical blood flow. So this is blood flow getting to the head. So if you're holding all your stress and tension mainly in your shoulders and your neck, you're going to, and anywhere, but if you're going to decrease blood flow, right? It's like, right, sympathetics are turned on, can't really get that blood flow up into the brain, right? The prefrontal cortex isn't getting the blood flow it needs, right? If we restrict that blood flow, we're doing a few things. We're not getting it's tissue ischemia is what's happening, but also you are not able to get nutrients into that area of the body and getting waste out, so that there's a stagnation. Decreased cortical blood flow turns into defensive decisions, right? We're not able to think clearly. We're not able to respond. It's more of a reactive nature to things. We're a little more moody. We have outbursts. There's a temper. And it's just like you have a sense of body disconnection. Like you kind of leave your body, you just respond when the sympathetics are constantly firing. So how different could life look if you're able to respond, stay connected to the entirety of the body, know when the sympathetics are winding up, and be able to mitigate and help them relax and release. We can respond better. We can react better. It's not so reptilian in nature. Another thing that happens when our sympathetics are wound up is that we have decreased visceral blood flow. If we're sympathetically firing, our blood flow is really moving into our extremities, arms, legs, ready for movement, ready to leave, ready to run away. And so less blood flow is getting to the viscera, getting to the small intestines, the large intestines. We see large intestine leak, right? Leaky gut. We see small intestine leaks like leaky gut. And we have large intestine backup, right? Constipation. You're not moving the waste out properly, right? So you start to fill up with crap and it's like, man, you feel crappy. This is where we watch people with IBS and spastic colitis. A lot of autoimmune diseases come out of here because it really does start in the gut, right? And also if you're all backed up in there and our gut is our second brain, then the correlation between the two reflect one another. Diverticulitis, Crohn's disease. You're not getting that nutrients. You could eat as much good food as you want, but if this is happening in the body, your body will not absorb those beautiful nutrients that you're spending a ton of money on, and your waste isn't getting eliminated. So good food choices aren't going to be helpful. I mean, they will be helpful, but they're not going to resolve underlying issues. When our sympathetics are wound up and turned on, we have increased muscular tension. So think about it. If you make a fist right now and you hold that fist nice and tight, we're voluntarily making that happen. But what starts to happen? We start to feel the tension in the hand, and maybe our fingers into our palm, and maybe that tension moving down the arm, moving up to the shoulder. The beautiful thing is in this moment we can let that go. But what if you don't let it go? What if it just stays like that in your body for 2 weeks, 2 months, 2 years, 20 years? That's then causing that chronic fatigue, If we're holding everything tight, we are wasting a ton of energy holding everything tight. We're reducing blood flow in that area of the body. We're not letting that waste get out and that nutrition get in. So we start to see chronic fatigue. You are exhausted and you don't know why. I'm letting you know why. That's why. I love watching people just show up with more energy, because this lets go. Now you have energy available to you that's been wasted holding everything tight. And if we're holding everything tight, we're causing things like fibromyalgia. Watching that resolve is life-changing. And anytime we're holding everything tight and there's asymmetrical loading of the joints, we're going to be causing joint inflammation and arthritis. That inflammation comes because we can't create that natural flow of the blood flow coming in, getting the nutrition in, getting the waste out. Things get stagnant and it builds up and it doesn't feel good. And we see symptoms and dis-ease over time building in the body. Because that last piece of the sympathetic windup is about causing inflammation. When we cause inflammation from chronic muscle tension, because the sympathetics are wound up and you can't just say in your brain, hey body, let it go. There's more to it. We got to teach it something new because it's learned something that's ingrained. So those skills of holding everything tight cause inflammation, which then is painful. If your body hurts, your life hurts. If you lack health because your body hurts, it's what you're focused on. I know that in small spurts, and I have so much empathy for the people who live with excruciating pain day in and day out, and I've seen things change over time when we address this and we teach the body to be more in balance with the parasympathetics and being able to let go and retrain the neurology and the nervous system out of that higher tension pattern. And then also, if we are causing inflammation in this way, we are just adding to full body premature aging. And so we start to get focused on the adage of like, oh, I guess I'm getting older and that's just it, and bodies fall apart when we get older. I don't prescribe to that, because our bodies can learn new tricks. We can learn something new, and we don't have to be stuck in that paradigm of that's just how it goes. I don't believe it. But when all these things are working in the system and you are in sympathetic windup and it's all feeding in on each other, and you're just not seeing the things that you want to see in your life grow, evolve, and change, this would be the first thing to address, is getting back into greater balance between the parasympathetic and the sympathetics, understanding how this affects your body so that you can take healthy, congruent action of taking better care of yourself. Because this whole life stems on personal responsibility and how well you are willing to take care of yourself and look in the mirror in the reflection of the things that you haven't been doing that you need to do. So where in your life have you not been taking action and you know you need to be taking action? The journey of self-discovery is a beautiful one, and it doesn't have a destination. It just has every single step forward, and enjoying every single step forward. I teach people how to tap into this extraordinary power that our nervous system has to retrain and rewire into greater foundations of ease, flow, freedom, and a lot more fun because things feel better. I'll leave a link in the description below. I have an incredible EPC Level 1 program on my website that shows you how to systematically take care of your body to retrain the nervous system into being more connected and ease, and giving you that empowered piece of knowing that you can take care of yourself. And I also have a coached version as well if you need support during it, and we can work together and get you deeper into and faster into that foundational work. If this is something that's important to you, or you're noticing any of these things that are showing up on this list, please like, comment, subscribe. Let's start a conversation. How are you either taking care of yourself, or where is it that maybe you need some more support? I would love to know. I would love to hear. Again, my name is Melissa. I am your intuitive projector, and I am here along the journey with you. As I experience my body, I want you to know that you can experience your body with greater freedom and flow and ease, just like I do. Take care, my friend. Until the next one.